You're listening to the Spark Radio Network, Internet radio like you've never heard before. Innovation, creativity, and imagination are all said to begin with a spark. So fasten your seatbelt and take the ride of your life and listen for the spark.
You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
Most writers and radio show hosts know that to connect with your fans, you need to do more than just write books or record the latest podcasts. There are many different elements that go into forming an online platform, but there are also many hidden traps. To make matters worse, solid advice on how to survive the muddy waters is scarce. In the book Hidden Traps, I talk about some of the important issues of working with an online platform, highlighting traps that could put your physical or internet security at risk or be harmful to your reputation. Are your social media posts just links with a few disjointed words, making you look like someone who can't complete a sentence? Did your new website cost you more than you anticipated? Are you leaking your personal contact details across the web without even knowing it? Then you need Hidden Traps. Hidden Traps is now available in paperback and ebook from a variety of retailers, including Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Kobo. Visit blackwolfpublications.com for more details.
If you're 85 or younger, would you like peace of mind and comfort for your family? We're Final Expense Direct with an urgent message for you. The average funeral today costs over $8,000, but the most you'll get from government benefits is $255. How will your family pay the difference? We can help. Our senior plans start as low as just $1 a day and pay up to $30,000 for a funeral and other final expenses. Peace of mind is easy. There's no medical exam. You'll have lifetime coverage, and your plan can't be canceled as long as you pay your premiums. Call now for free information about our senior plans. Answer a few simple questions and receive approval right on the phone. Plus, call right now and we'll give you a discount prescription card for free. Call 800-553-8687. That's 800-553-8687. Again, 800-553-8687. 687.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
Attention business owners and independent contractors. This is a money-saving message from Tax Mediation Services. If your business owes $20,000 or more in taxes, we can help you today, right now. Listen, dealing with the IRS is no picnic. It's an intimidating and extremely stressful process, and you don't want to go it alone. Our attorneys know every law, every tax break, and every possible opportunity to help you resolve and reduce your tax debt. And if you owe more than $20,000, you may be at the top of their hit list. So don't take your tax debt lightly, because it will not go away on its own. The IRS can seize your bank accounts, your home, and even shut down your business. Call our tax experts today at 1-800-783-0810 and let us deal with the IRS while you focus on your business. That's 1-800-783-0810. Again, that's 800-783-0810.
My son was in the Army back during Desert Storm, but even then he wanted an MBA. He looked at a dozen schools, but only one offered the online education and flexibility he needed while he was in a tent in Iraq. Grantham University. Turns out that Grantham's been delivering affordable, relevant college and advanced degrees for over 65 years. Heck, if they can deliver a quality education to a soldier in a tent overseas, think about the flexibility Grantham can offer you so you can earn your degree too. It doesn't matter how complicated or full your life is. If getting a degree is on your bucket list, you'll want to do what my son did. You'll want to call Grantham. Find out how easy it is to get started on your education so you can check that college degree off your bucket list. Call Grantham right now, 800-910-1370. That's 800-910-1370. Flexible, affordable, relevant. Call 800-910-1370.
Sometimes riders feel lost, unsure why a passage may not be working. It's takes another set of eyes to help us nurture our writing into full maturity. At Black Wolf Editorial Services, we strive to enable writers to develop and grow, offering manuscript critiques and line edits through a mentoring editorial style. We also offer assistance on generating a writer's bio for your websites. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing into maturity. For a full list of services, visit blackwolfeditorial.com.
Oh, let me tell you something. I am so sick of Washington and all its works and all them politicians down there and them congressmen. I'll bet you won't find none of them congressmen signing down their electric blankets tonight. Which if they did, their secretaries would get up and go home.
We gotta do something. Absolutely. You know what we gotta do? Toga party.
Toga! 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 I want you to kill every golfer on the course.
Check me if I'm wrong, Sandy, but if I kill all the golfers, they're gonna lock me up and throw away the key.
All right, there we go. Dead air problem solved. Sorry, speaker console was not listening to me when I was trying to hit the button. Good evening, folks. How are you? We're live right now. Yeah, that's right. This is live radio. That's when you can tell when things don't go right. It proves that you're listening to a live radio show, because things go crazy all the time on live radio. Anyway, I'm one half of the crew, Mr. Rick Robinson. He's the other half, Mr. Dan Wright. And we have lots of stuff to talk about tonight. The lead-off tonight is, of course, it's 420, and there's a certain Democratic senator who I'm pretty sure was stoned today when he started talking about decriminalization of marijuana at the federal level, because he started talking about states' rights. Who are you, and what have you done with... Yeah, that wasn't you, bro. I don't know who wrote that tweet for you, man, but it was not you. I've never once in your entire career heard you use the word states' rights without trying to stroke out first. Just saying.
No, and I saw, now I'm trying to think. I want to give credit, and I can't think of who put the tweet out. Basically asking if Rand Paul actually wrote the tweet for him.
That was me, actually.
Was that you?
Yeah.
I thought it might be you, but I didn't want to. I don't know. Today,
Yeah.
everything in my world today just kind of ran together.
No, the only thing that was running together in your world today was right about here.
Preview.
little bit of hookah action going on today. Is that what happened? No, it's fine. No, I mean, dude, yeah, I give him crap, but guys, he's one of the hardest workers I know. Every time I turn around, he's like, "Man, I'm on call again. I get like 2 hours off, and then they got to be back." I'm like, "Yeah, sucks." And I'm over here eating fried chicken, and he's like, "Dude, that looks really good. I hate you." But yeah, so anyway, actually, I had people insulting me for my dinner tonight. They told me I was fat and I was going to have a heart attack. Bunch of damn haters.
Oh, come on, there were peas on that plate.
I know, right? There was something green on the plate. I should be good. But yeah, so everybody asks, because everybody makes fun of me because of my weight, because I'm crazy enough to actually be a fat guy who has his own picture on his Twitter account. When are you going to go on a diet? This is the reason why diets don't work for me, folks. My wife is an amazing cook, and the things that she cooks are really, really good. And yeah, I'm old and married now, so I don't really care that I don't look like Tom Selleck anymore, or ever, for that matter. So yeah, I would prefer to eat things that I like. And I know that makes me some sort of heathen now, because we're all supposed to be like vegan tofu gods or something, but I like fried chicken. Stop judging me. That's why I put "don't judge me" in the hashtag. Anyway, sorry guys. Bit of a rant about my food.
That's how it's supposed to be. It's not like you eat fried chicken for dinner every day. I mean, what the heck?
I would if I could, but then I really would be dead.
I mean, I have a fantastic recipe that your wife might like, and it's Captain Crunch fried chicken. You ever had it?
We actually made it together once, quite a while ago. She actually was not a fan. I was, but she went.
Yeah, I like to do it with chicken tenders.
Yeah, it's much better if you do it with like chicken tenders.
Yes,
yeah.
We bought a big box last week. We bought a big box of Captain Crunch so that we can make that maybe tomorrow night.
Yeah,
but you gotta enjoy life every once in a while.
I know, right?
I mean, we grill a lot,
No, I mean, so do we. That's why today when she was like, "I'm making fried chicken," I sent her back a text message with I found a dancing GIF that I can use on my phone. I was like, "Yay!" She's like, enjoy it because it ain't happening again for a while. She hates making fried chicken because she has to cook so much of it that she's in there for like hours because we have like 5 people to cook for, so it's pretty time consuming.
That's rough. That's a hard job right there.
Oh yeah, especially when you do it old school with the cast iron skillet.
Yep.
Which really makes the chicken taste better. Don't let anybody lie to you. Cast iron skillet's the best way to make fried chicken. Especially a well-seasoned cast iron skillet. And some of you right now...
Anything fried.
Some of you right now are going, why the hell is he talking about a cast iron skillet? And what does he mean by well-seasoned? That just means you've never eaten properly, so you need to just go away.
Hey, I even grilled my pizza tonight.
Yeah, you mentioned that when we were going on air. How the hell? What? You grilled a pizza?
You top rack it. I mean, you can do it. I've seen people do it maybe with a stone on the bottom rack. I do it without a stone on the top rack, and it makes it tastes like it was cooked in a flame lit oven.
Oh, come on! It's
kind of like a brick oven pizza.
It's 420. You definitely should have done it with a stone. I'm just saying.
But it's great. Yeah, grilled pizza. It's awesome.
Yeah. No.
Now we are. This is sounding definitely like a 420 show because now we're just talking about food.
Well, there may or may not have been some consumption of a brownie before the show. I can't mention what may or may not have had any special ingredient. No, there seriously was a brownie. No, it was not a 420 special. Sadly, I asked, the wife laughed and rolled her eyes, so that was kind of a given. All right, so I guess we should probably stop talking about food because I'm a fat guy and we've been talking about food for like 10 minutes now, so I'm actually starting to get hungry because we're talking about food. So
and now you're going to have to go eat more fried chicken.
I know, right? See, now I have a question. I'm not sure if this is a guy thing or not because my wife, the last time she made fried chicken was we actually had fried chicken on Easter. So there was tons of leftovers because we cooked enough chicken for like 40 people and then the weather turned bad so half the people didn't show up. So I go the next day, right, and I grab some chicken out of the fridge and I go put it on a plate and I go sit down and I start munching on it, drinking a glass of iced tea. I didn't heat it up first. And she's like, what are you doing? I said, I'm eating leftover chicken. She's like, first of all, leftover chicken is nasty to begin with. Second of all, leftover cold chicken is just terrible. So am I crazy? Because to me, leftover cold chicken is awesome.
We'll do like Italian herb marinated chicken out on the grill. And I take that in my lunch the next day and eat it cold. It's perfectly fine.
I think it's a guy thing because now the last time I took chicken to work, it was grilled and it was kind of the same thing. It had been sitting in my lunchbox and I have the little lunchbox with the little things on the bottom to keep it somewhat cold. And I'm like, you know what? It's chicken. I'm just going to sit at my desk and eat it cold. That way I don't have to fight for a microwave. So I pull it out and I start eating it. One of the people I work with walks by and she's like, You're just going to eat that straight out of your lunchbox cold? And I'm like, yeah, why? And she's like, you're not normal. And I'm like, I'm starting to think maybe the whole, men are from Mars, women are from, I'm starting to think that's a real thing. Really am.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's great. I mean, especially if you've got some drumsticks because then you just, me, I'm on the road all the time. Drumsticks got its own built-in handle and everything.
Yeah, I'm actually not a huge fan of drumsticks anymore. I'm more of a thigh guy. Anyway, all right.
Oh, that's usually what we do on the grill. That's the best grilling. Okay, we're still talking about food, Rick.
I know, right? It's not my fault. I had to ask you that because it just dawned on me. All right, so where do you want to go first? Because it's not like there's a shortage of news right now.
Well, you touched on Schumer. So since we're in New York,
I spoke about Schumer. I have never and will never touch on Schumer. Just saying.
But since we're in New York, let's talk about their wonderful Governor Cuomo, who is now urging to the point where talking about possible, I don't know, measures against commerce that does business with the NRA. Basically, stifling the NRA's First Amendment rights by trying to stifle the Second Amendment rights by going after anybody that does commerce with them.
Hey, Cuomo, I got something for you right here.
Will you stifle yourself?
Saying. You're going to start stifling business. Maybe you should just stifle it yourself. I saw a tweet about this earlier today. Somebody was making a joke about this basically being the Hunger Games of capitalism. I'm really starting to think that might actually be a thing, because it's like the socialists and the crazy people are trying to do everything they can to basically just starve out capitalism until it's gone. Because this doesn't make any sense to me. I was talking about this with a friend of mine the other day because I saw the news story come out about, I think it was, I don't want to give out the wrong bank name, but I could have swore it was Bank of America. Anyway, there was a bank that basically said that they were going to stop doing business with gun manufacturers and gun retailers and blah 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 blah. And I'm thinking, if I had just a handful of people that I knew that had good investment capital, I would start a 2A friendly bank. And just be like, you guys are going to be our only customers because nobody else wants you. Bring me your money. I'm just like, man, I wish I had a backer for that, because I'm pretty sure I could retire.
Yeah, I'm happy with my bank, and they seem to pretty much completely stay out of politics altogether, which I like. But I would be interested in doing my banking with a bank.
Yeah, I'm really starting to try. I haven't done too much with it yet, but I think I'm about to start actually trying to put together a business model, because the crazier this stuff gets, the more I'm just like, we should really start, because this is the problem that we're having. We have all of these places now that have gone so completely to the left, they don't want to have anything to do with anything conservative. I mean, it's like we have all these companies that are pulling away from talk shows. We have all these companies that are just like, I'm not going to have anything to do with you because you support people owning guns. I think it's time for conservatives to rise up and start making businesses and make products that kind of serve to the contrary of that whole idea, so that commerce can continue even when the left is trying to starve it. But that's just me.
Yeah, no, and you did hit on the right bank. It was Bank of America, and
I thought it was.
I'll be honest. I didn't have it. I'll be honest with you. I won't do business with them anyway for other reasons. So there, Bank of America.
Well, yeah, I haven't done business with them in a long time anyway, because they're like, they might as well just call themselves the Bank of Russia, because But anyway, that's a story.
Or the bank of we're going to fee you to death.
Pretty much. Well, I mean, if you really want to think about it, most banks do that now anyway. That's another reason why I was kind of really toying with the idea of creating a different kind of bank, so there's not all these stupid fees. And one of the things that drives me crazy is somebody that used to be lower class. One of the things that drives me nuts about a bank, like, let's say for the sake of argument, you have overdraft protection, which I know everybody says is a terrible thing now, which I understand why, and I'm going to explain why it's a terrible thing in a second. But so you have all of these purchases that are coming in at the same time. Let's say you have $600 in your account. You have $550 at a one-time purchase, and then you have $150 of smaller purchases. Your bank, because they know they can hit you with all the fees and everything else, they're going to hit you with the largest purchase first, so that it clears, and then all those tiny little $5, $10, $15 purchases that put you $50 over your limit, they're going to hit you for $30-some-odd for each one of those that doesn't clear, instead of doing it in the reverse and hitting you with one fee.
Yep, Bank of America got in trouble for that.
There's several banks
when I banked with them, because it happened to me. We literally should have overdrafted one thing, and it would have cost me the time. I think it was like $34. But instead, they put a later dated transaction first and bounced like 5 little things. Didn't bounce them, they overdrafted them. And 5 times 36, and they actually got in trouble, and I got all those fees reversed.
Yeah, and they can, but that's the thing. Not everybody pushes. I mean, that's one of the things, that's why I don't, that's my bank that I use doesn't do that, because the first time they tried to do it, I was like, no, you guys are going to go back in and you're going to do that in the proper order so that I get one fee, or I'm going to take you to court. Well, go ahead and take us to court. Okay, we'll see. And they realized I wasn't kidding, and I talked to about 4 or 5 different people further and further up the chain, and eventually they just said, you know what, we're just going to fix this for you. And I thought so. But,
it's what I like about my bank. I bank with BB&T, and they had a glitch a few months ago. And I didn't even have to complain, but I had double transactions go through. Their system somehow doubled up transactions in a bunch of accounts, and I ended up with like 2 overdraft fees because of it. And before I even noticed it, they said something to me, but on my app, comes in a message. I basically get like emails in my banking app. And I noticed I had messages, and I looked at my account, and I'm like, wow, that's really weird. Because I was like, what is all these transactions? And I hit the thing, and before most people even noticed, they had turned around and refunded, even for like a 1-week period, they refunded every customer any overdraft fees that they got, whether they were legitimate or not. They just refunded them to keep people happy.
Now, see, that's cool.
Yeah.
I mean, but that's the thing is, somebody that's going to do business with people, there's things that we really kind of need to know about, to a point. There's things that we need to make sure go first.
Oh, there's nothing like with Bank of America. I had what was supposed to be free checking. Well, apparently that expired. I never got any notice. This was years ago. I never got any notice, and they took a $17 maintenance fee out of my account, and it caused something to bounce. But I was like, nobody told me you were taking this $17 out of my checking account. If you did, I would have moved money from my savings account to my checking account. But nobody told me. Well, you should have read your blah, 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 blah. I opened the account 5 years ago. Am I supposed to know that after 5 years, my free checking expires?
Wait, so
when it's going to expire?
Your free checking had a time limit?
I guess so.
Wow, that's new.
Yeah, see, notice I don't bank with Bank of America anymore.
Yeah, the places that I knew of that had, which honestly there aren't really very many places that even have free checking anymore, but the ones that did or still do, as far as I know, there's never been any limitation on it. I've never really heard of anything like that. But all right, so I guess we've talked about Bank of America enough. I don't know. I'm still on this Chucky Schumer thing because I'm rerunning that tweet in my head. Now, look, I'm the first guy to admit anybody in the Senate or Congress that wants to start talking to me about states' rights and decriminalization of marijuana, I'm all for that. But I don't buy it from this particular source. I just don't. I just don't.
Not at all.
I mean,
at least it was just states' rights, and he didn't say individual rights. Then my head might explode.
This is true. So here's the thing, and I have a question, because we've been dealing with this a lot in my state, because it's actually coming up on a vote soon as to whether or not medical marijuana is going to become legal. So I want to get your take on it. I mean, what is your take as far as decriminalization? I don't think it should necessarily be legalized at the federal level, but I think it should be decriminalized so each state can decide what they want to do.
That's pretty much the way I mean, that's pretty much the way I look at it. Now, I do look at examples like DC, and many people may not know that marijuana is basically, it's totally, in a way, totally decriminalized in DC. The way they did it is strange. You can buy it and you can gift it, but you can't sell it. I mean, I shouldn't even say you can buy it. You can gift it, you can possess it. You can possess it on your person up to like an ounce, I believe it is. And if you have more than an ounce on you, it's like a $50 fine. You can smoke it in public, but you can't sell it. So you can grow it, and they call it gifting, which, I mean, basically gets you around the you can't sell it. You know, if it's a transaction that could be seen, you just can't exchange money.
That's what
you give the ounce to your buddy, and then the next day he gives you $200. You know,
$200 for
that's the way it works. But I mean, you can. It's weird. I mean, going and help my brothers in a band up there, and I'll go up there every once in a while and help them with one of their shows, and we'll go in and watch the first band and get set up and go stand outside. And you're standing outside, people are just sitting right outside the club, just smoking joints. That's perfectly legal. Cops rolling by. It's basically completely decriminalized up there. You just can't sell it.
Yeah, I mean, you know, well, you were talking about, you know, your buddy bringing you the money the next day. Hell, that's what PayPal's for.
Yeah.
Just be like, hey, but yeah, $200 for an ounce. That shit's expensive in DC. I'm just saying.
That's these days for a full ounce. That's pretty cheap, actually.
I don't know. I used to bust people for purchasing. I've never actually purchased it. I don't remember it being that expensive when I was busting people for purchasing. That's a lot of money for weed. All right, so anyway.
Well, weed has gotten very, very.
Well, it's also kind
boutique.
of designer.
It's very boutique like. I mean, for a lot of weed. I mean, if I remember correctly, I mean, you know, it's going for $80 a quarter.
Yeah, weed has gone the way of coffee. There's not just coffee anymore. There's like
high octane.
Yeah, it's funny because, you know, I have friends that are still in law enforcement, and they'll talk to me about the stuff that they're pulling off kids these days, and I'm like, holy crap! They're like, dude, you don't understand the THC content in this stuff. I had this is not even a joke. I had a friend who was searching somebody and didn't realize he had a tear in his gloves. The dude got a contact high through the baggie from the amount of THC that was in that shit.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I'll hear. Obviously, my brother plays in bands. I used to play in bands. I still have plenty of friends that smoke. You know, and they'll be talking like total foreign language. Like, yeah, I got this like purple haze, and it's like purple, and it's got these red hairs running through it. And I'm like, dude, I mean, when I was in college, I just wanted a bag of scents, you know?
Yeah, well,
you know, I wanted it to be nice and green. They're talking about it being purple and stuff like that. I'm like, wow.
Yeah, well, we were old school. All we were caring about was how high we were going to get and how.
Yeah.
Now it's got to be this particular kind of high. All right, so anyway, we should probably stop talking about this before the feds come knocking on my door, because it's not legal here yet. All right, so anyway, so all kinds of other interesting little things going on in the news. So the DNC is apparently suing the Trump campaign because of the whole Russia thing. I have a question. So when is the Bernie Sanders campaign going to sue the DNC for rigging the damn thing for Hillary?
That's a good question. And I posed a question too, actually on today to Stephen Miller. I said, and can the Trump campaign countersue? Because the last I checked, the DNC was broke, and those legal fees can be a real bitch.
Oh, well, you know that's coming because they're broke. I mean, if they honestly do this, all the Trump campaign, I mean, the Trump campaign's still got a war chest. I mean, they've been fundraising this entire time. I keep hearing all these reports about record amounts of fundraising and blah, 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 blah. So even if they try to do this, all the Trump campaign's got to do is drag their heels till the DNC runs out of money, which will take exactly 35 seconds.
Right, and countersue them for legal fees.
And then it's over.
Yeah.
To me, this smacks of desperation. Because if you go back, remember, we're not talking about it anymore, but remember those email exchanges where they were talking about, oh my God, please let it be Trump. We know we can beat Trump. They put Trump on a pedestal. They used the entire media complex to build the guy up because they were 1,000% convinced they were going to be able to beat him. And now that they didn't, they want to sue. These are the same people where, you know, people used to stand around with their a few days before elections when everybody was looking at all the polls and it was terrible. They're like, oh, the Trump campaign's just going to complain that it's rigged, so we're going to combat it. We're going to go stand outside with signs that say it's not rigged, you're just losing with my I'm with her t-shirt. It's funny how when the shoe wound up on the other foot, now you guys are the ones that are screaming about how everything was rigged. I'm not even necessarily saying that the Russians weren't involved somehow, but I don't think the Russians did anything worse than what we do. Because let's not forget, Barack Obama was hip deep in the Israeli election, and several other elections during the time that he was in office, trying to basically do the whole democracy engineering crap that we've been famous for the last 50 years that I think needs to stop. So, I mean, this is just another pot kettle moment, and I mean, the DNC's in real trouble here, because here's the thing that I don't get, and this was driving me crazy all day yesterday, and then I just kind of had an epiphany, because I'm seeing these same memos, and everybody's looking at these memos that Congress is looking at, and one side says the other's done, and the other side says the other's done, and one side says there is classified information that was released, the other side says, no, there was no classified information released. And one of the tweets that I saw with a leftist moron sitting there saying there's no way that Comey released any classified information in his memos, even though we know because Comey said he released them unedited to a friend. The picture that he took trying to prove that there was no classified information had 2 lines redacted, which means the Black Marker Brigade was all over those things before they turned them over to Congress. Guess what they redact? Classified information, which proves Comey leaked classified information. Game, set, match, they're toast.
Yep.
It doesn't even matter if it was a classified cake recipe. The fact that it was redacted means that he released classified information to a friend unless he can produce those memos and prove that they were redacted before he handed them over. And he's already told everybody that when he handed over the memos, he did so unedited so people could see everything that he was writing down, which means he released classified information to a friend. Now, you can be against Trump, for Trump, whatever side of this thing you want to be on, that's great. But there comes a time when you got to realize the truth is the truth is the truth, and not both sides can't be right. This isn't a situation where we're going to just tell you the side of the story that fits with our narrative. No, I'm telling you exactly what I saw with my own damn eyeballs. A picture of a congressman holding a memo, looking at it with 2 sentences blacked out in black marker. Which, if those are the same memos that were being passed around by Comey that he says himself were not edited and untouched, then he's toast.
He's got a book, though.
That nobody's buying. It was out 2 days and it was already in the 30% off thing in Barnes & Noble. 2 days. The funny thing about that book, though, and I actually had a friend who tried to get me an advanced digital copy, and I'm like, I'm not even interested. They're like, but it would be great for you to talk about it on your show. I'm like, I don't care. I can talk about it without reading the book. Well, you don't have to pay for it. I don't care. I don't want that tarnishing my Kindle. Just leave me alone. But so, you know, I've been going through the little bits and pieces that I can find, and the funny thing is, Comey kept swearing up and down that when this book released, everybody would find out that he was really the hero and Trump was really the a-hole. I don't think history's going to remember you that way, Mr. Comey, whether you wanted us to or not. Because
yeah, I'm certainly not. I mean, he may be one of the most wishy-washy, cover my ass people I've ever seen in my entire life.
It's just funny because, you know, you see him on these now, because now he's doing the talk show circuit, which, oh my God, the only person I've ever seen that was more boring on the talk show circuit was John the California Raisin Carey. Dude looks and talks like Lurch. It's just he's not very charismatic. It's just it was like and I did not release any classified information, and I didn't do this and I didn't do that. I'm just like, you're a liar. But there's photographic evidence of the fact that you did this all over everywhere now because you decided to be the one to push the issue. And when does the truth become more important? Because, you know, while we're still talking about Stormy Daniels and all this other crap that may have happened with the president 12 flipping years ago, North Korea is basically saying, yeah, we're pretty much done with the nuclear game, guys. Well played, America. We're actually talking about stopping our nuclear testing. We're talking about destroying one of our testing sites. But yeah, let's keep talking about Stormy Daniels. Now, have they done it yet? No. Could that change tomorrow? Yes, because Kim Jong-un is a bipolar bastard. But the simple fact of the matter is, we legitimately have him talking about disarming. This has been something that... And
talking about making friends with South Korea.
I know.
That kind of worries me a little bit, to be honest. But either way,
well, I mean, you know,
there is that chance that maybe he came to his senses, and maybe Trump bullying him a little bit did something and made him realize, I may not want to screw with that country anymore.
I mean, and that's kind of what I've been saying the whole time. This is no different than what we used to teach our kids. When you're dealing with a bully on the playground, you don't cower to the bully on the playground. And that's what North Korea has been for the last 8 years. Because they didn't have anybody that was willing to step up to them and say, no, you're not going to do this anymore. Now, was I terrified when the president first said, you know what, keep doing this, we're going to nuke you? Yeah, it kind of scared me. I'm not going to lie. But the simple fact of the matter is, in between his, you know, when everybody else was giving him crap about North Korea, the first strike on Syria that he did on his own with nobody telling him it was okay while he was sitting across from the table from the Prime Minister of China, that got everybody's attention. That got the mental midget of the North's attention. He's like, this isn't Barack Obama anymore. Maybe I should start listening to what this crazy bastard is saying because I think he might actually be trying to kill me. I think that's what's brought him to the table because he's realized at this point if he doesn't start playing nice, he's going to die. Now, what concerns me about him suddenly deciding he wants to play nice with South Korea, I think he's just looking for more food for his people because he's turned them into cannibals.
Yeah, it's a sad state in that country, and that's kind of what bothers me. One of the things that bothers me about the left in this country, when they're kind of, I don't understand what they don't see in things. You know, I'm not going to sit here and say that they were supporting North Korea, but when you see people like basically sitting there comparing Trump to people that could be worse than the mental midget, I don't know. It just boggled my mind that literally the left in this country was kind of taking North Korea's side and loving everything North Korea did in the Olympics and everything else. I'm like, really? Do you know what's going on in that country?
No, apparently they
don't. Do you know
what's
happening to the people of that country?
No, because they don't care. Because it doesn't fit their narrative. The issue with the left, and I'm not talking about all liberals, I'm talking about the uber leftists, because I will still admit there are some classical liberals out there who don't believe socialism is the way, but the 99% of the left is all on board the socialism train. So anywhere there's communism or socialism, that is the best thing ever. It doesn't matter how much poverty there is in the streets. I mean, look at California. California has a hepatitis outbreak for the first time in decades to the point where they can't keep it under control because they have people defecating on the sidewalks and living in tents because of how bad it is out there. but socialism is great because California takes care of all of its people. Socialism isn't great because now Governor Jerry Moonbeam has decided that everybody that comes into California illegally needs more things than California people, and they're going to be a sanctuary state. The funny thing about the sanctuary state is town after town after town is flipping Governor Jerry Moonbeam Brown the finger and saying, we don't want to be a sanctuary city. I don't care what you say. We ain't doing it. I saw a tweet from somebody today. He's like, I live 15 minutes from Escondido, California, and 35 minutes from San Diego, and they both officially voted today against the sanctuary state policy. I'm in shock. I'm happy, but what the heck just happened? Because everybody's buying into the propaganda from Sacramento on California. They don't realize that their entire state has been hijacked by a minority for decades. And I didn't even really start figuring this out until I started talking to people that actually live there. Orty lives there. We talk all the time about California. JD lives there now. He's been there a couple of years now. He made it his mission when he first started living there. He would go up and randomly talk to people. He's like, look, I don't want you to think I'm crazy, but I just moved here, so I have a question. Did you vote for any of these morons that are in Sacramento? And he started naming off people and be like, did you vote for Governor Brown? No, I didn't vote for him. I'm not sure who voted for him. And everybody he talked to, they either were too ashamed to admit that they voted for him, or they flat out said they didn't, so they were either ashamed and lying, or they didn't. And that's the thing. He's like, I don't get it, dude. He's like, everybody I ask tells me they didn't vote for any of these people, but yet somehow they keep getting voted into office. I didn't believe it myself at first, but now we're seeing this thing where, you know, the governor and the legislative body in California is like, we're going to be a sanctuary state, and all the cities are like, the fuck we are. You can be a sanctuary. Yeah. You can be a sanctuary state. I ain't being a sanctuary city. We're out. We don't care. So Governor Moonbeam is like flipping a finger to Trump and saying, we don't care what the federal law says. We're going to do things the California way. And Sacramento's like, hey, I'm a Californian too, and we're out, brother.
Well, yeah, and what it is, and the reason why people like Jerry Brown get elected in California is because there's so many people in San Francisco and Oakland and LA. Those are the three cities that are voting those people in. The rest of the state, I've been to California. You know, you go down. You know, I've been to like the Fresno area. It's all freaking right outside of Fresno. It's all farmland and horse ranches. Those people aren't voting for Jerry Brown. You know, I mean. It's like being in, you know, Texas, but it's those three cities. It's those three cities that are voting for these people, and the rest of the state gets screwed. It's a great state. I love it out in California. I don't want to live there. I love visiting there. I love the state of California. It's a shame.
I have issues with California, and I have issues only because, like, there's a story that I just heard about today on the drive into work. There was a property that was completely condemned to the point where it had rusted pipes, no running water, holes in the ceiling, whole 9 yards, whole damn thing falling apart to the point where the city condemned it. It was just bought for $1.5 million. People wonder why everybody's living in tents in California. Who the hell can afford to pay $1.5 million for a house you can't even live in without doing hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of repairs first?
I see that in a lot of places. I mean, not to that extreme, but I know that the house I grew up in until I was about 11 years old, right outside of Chicago, and it was a nice house on a pretty nice piece of property, there in, you know, suburban Chicagoland. And I think my parents sold that house in like 1978. They sold that house for about, I don't know, $150,000. 10 years ago, it sold for like close to $1 million, and they tore the house down to build up a new house. So they basically just paid for the lot plus whatever cost it was to demolish the old house, and then built a new house on the property.
And well, that's exactly what's happening in this one. You know, it was bought by an investment group. They're demolishing the property because it's too expensive to restore it, and they're building a new, bigger house on the property itself. And then they're going to resell it. I'm just thinking, you're paying $1.5 million for what is basically going to become a plot of land just for you to put another house on it. I just, I get it. It's expensive to live in California, but I can't imagine. I mean, could you imagine living somewhere where you have to have $1.5 million to buy a house? I mean, that's insane.
It's gotten ridiculous. I mean, same thing in Maryland. I mean, I couldn't buy the house I sold in Maryland right now. I mean, I sold the house. I bought the house for $170,000. I sold it for $315,000, and now I think it would cost me about $430,000 to buy it.
Hey, you said $420,000.
It was on my mind.
I know, right? So I don't know. It's just one of those things where, I hope at some point, if we can get the rest of the economy under control, maybe we can start figuring out why in the hell it cost $1 million to buy a house in certain parts of the country. I mean, we're talking about money that where everywhere else it would be enough for you to retire. That's just enough for you to buy a house. Are you kidding me? That just seems crazy to me. I mean, that's like when I bought the house that I'm in now, and I started showing JD the pictures, and I showed him how big the land was that came with it, and the fact that it's just under 2,000 square feet, really open floor plan, has all this nice space. He's like, dude, your mortgage would be less than I would pay to live in a closet in New York City.
Yeah.
To rent a closet to live in New York City. He's like,
the house I'm in here. I mean, it's a small 3-bedroom ranch style house. And we've got, I mean, we're leasing it right now. We've had thoughts on buying it, but it's, probably, I don't know, maybe 1,800, 2,000 square foot house on an acre and a half. And we could probably buy this house for about $130,000.
I mean, that's
on an acre and a half.
Yeah. I mean, that's basically what we paid for ours. We're on 2.5 with just under 2,000 square foot, and we got it for 126. And JD's like, I couldn't even buy a closet off somebody in New York City for what you're paying for that whole house. I'm like, that just proves you don't need to live there anymore. So then, if we were to move down to Charlotte,
I mean, a 3-bedroom condo in Charlotte would probably cost us, $350,000.
Well, that's because you said condo.
Yeah,
those are more.
Well, that's all you're going to get in Charlotte.
Well, I mean, I don't know what it is about when you throw the word condo onto something. All of a sudden, it becomes super extravagant and expensive. They actually built a set of condos in downtown Oklahoma City, and everybody's like, "Oh my God, I still want to live there because it's right next to Bricktown, and you can walk to the movie theater, and there's all these restaurants, and you can actually buy them if you want to pay $250,000 for 1,000 square foot room."
We did work in a building in Charlotte, and the building, it has the corner of the building, all the balconies overlook both the baseball field and kind of look over to the football stadium. But I mean, it'd be nice because you could literally just sit on your balcony and watch baseball games. And we asked him, my buddy and I asked him, said, how much would one of those corner condos be? Like, say, a 2-bedroom, up around the 10th, 12th floor. $1.5 million.
No thanks.
Yeah.
No thanks.
But it's no wonder. I mean, if the cost of living is like that in the urban areas, I wonder why there's so many homeless. I mean, it's not like they can find a place to live.
Well, I mean, they obviously can't afford it. So, actually, I just realized we've already done most of the show and didn't take a break, so I guess we're not going to take a break tonight, folks. I do have one funny thing I want to talk about, because, it's 420, so why the hell not? Super Trooper 2 is out tonight, which I honestly was kind of surprised, because that kind of hit me out of the middle of nowhere. We were, setting up. This is going to sound weird, but... So, for those of you who don't know, my church service is every Sunday is held in the movie theater. So, we're part of the setup the teardown and the production crew. So somebody mentions that Super Troopers 2 is about to come out in movie theaters. I had no idea. I'm like, wait, they made a new one? So then all of a sudden I started seeing all these commercials coming out, and I'm like, That movie was like my go-to, because that was like right in the middle of me like running my security company and doing private investigations and everything else, and it was like, because I was back in a uniform again, it was almost like doing that kind of work again, and it was like the joke movie that we all ran to, because we were one of those weird companies, like even though we really weren't supposed to, we worked for the clients, like for the lower end apartment complexes that wanted us pulling traffic stops and everything else. I swear to God, I had a guy that anytime I was out with him on a traffic stop, to try to play the meow game.
Well, they played the radio show I listened to in the morning. They played a clip this morning, and it had me laughing.
Yeah, the one that I've heard that actually, the funniest one I've heard so far was there's a clip in one of the trailers I saw that has Farva in the outhouse, and he's just going on and on and on and making all these stupid puns, and somebody pops off, do you want me to shoot him? No, don't shoot him. So he says one more, and he's like, now can I shoot him? He's like, yeah, go ahead and shoot him. I was like, holy crap. But yeah, so I actually am really kind of looking forward to seeing that movie. I don't think I will pay full price at a movie theater, but I will be watching it as soon as it comes out on demand. I'm not paying $10 a ticket for Super Troopers.
Yeah, I can't tell you the last time I actually saw a movie in the theater.
I will on rare occasions. The last movie that I saw in the theaters was the newest Star Wars. The next one that I will probably pay full ticket price for is the new Avengers movie that's about to come out. Those are the ones that I really kind of enjoy the overall experience. And even though I have surround sound and a decent sized screen in my living room, I don't have the 6-foot wide, 7-foot tall screen they have in the movie theaters now. So occasionally I don't mind paying full price for a movie ticket, but it has to be one that I really, really want to see. Or it has to be a movie that the wife says we're going to go see it in the movie theaters. She gets to pick.
Yeah, I had the house I had with my ex-wife. I had a 110-inch theater screen in a movie theater room. I miss that.
Yeah, I don't have that yet. I did say yet because at some point I probably will, because we're not ever moving again. So at some point when I get some of this stuff paid down, I'm actually going to start putting things in the way I want them. So I'm going to get the nice big patio with probably an in-ground pool and a hot tub, and I'm going to build on probably off of the room that will eventually become my studio and put the theater room on the other side, because that will only be being used when I'm not on the radio anyway, so at least that way I'll be in a quieter part of the house. But we're talking years down the road, because sadly I didn't buy my house until I was old, so it's going to be forever till I have any money.
Well, yeah. There is one more thing I wanted to touch on. Something I learned this week, that apparently if you tweet something out and a news outlet or something like, say, Twitchy picks up on it and uses it in an article, you can sue for libel for them using your own words. Did you know that?
I heard somebody mention that. But yeah, no, I did. And actually, I kind of called BS on it, because I'm like, dude, it's a screen capture of your own tweet. I mean, at least he had the common sense to not call it slander.
Yeah,
I've actually seen
that
somebody
whole
do
thing.
That before.
I mean, for those that don't know, our good friend Sam Janey, the Foo, she works for Twitchy, and she did an article, and this gentleman said something really stupid. And if you don't know what Twitchy does, is they look for people that say stupid stuff and they feature them, and then they feature many of the responses to them and comment on it. Well, he says he's suing Sam and Twitchy for libel, and then one of his buddies came in and said he's doing the same thing. I'm like, really?
That's all right.
Do you not understand how things work? It's your own words that you put out there in public on social media.
Sorry, I saw somebody else's take on the geode cake thing. So this is from Trix. He's like, look, I'm a gay dude, but I'm fairly certain ladies' hot girls don't look like this.
Oh, that, don't take my words the wrong way. I love him. I'm gonna have to find that.
I can't even read through it without laughing. He tagged Orty into it, so it's a thread that I keep watching, and the number keeps going up. They're up to like 16 replies now. It's like he's seriously like, look, I'm a gay dude, but I'm fairly sure lady tacos don't look like this. ...
Yeah.
Space
Yeah.
space ... Do they? Like, he's like, there's no way. But yeah, no. To answer your question, Trix, in case you're listening, no. I know you have very little experience, but lady tacos do not look that way. Except for maybe Stormy Daniels' Lady Taco, because, I'm sure that's probably been down on everything, including the Titanic. But anyway, I think I just threw up in my mouth a little bit. Yup. All right, so anyway. So that's pretty much going to do it for this particular episode. We've got about 5 minutes left in case there's anything else you wanted to go over real quick. But yeah, actually, before I got distracted by Trix's tweet, I was going to say, honestly, I didn't even catch it until hours later because I went back and I started looking and I was like, why in the world did that tweet take off? Because I replied to the dude and I'm like, first of all, you basically said that Ben Shapiro was an accessory to a crime on open timeline through Twitter, and you're saying that you're going to sue them for libel? What the... my exact quote was, the fuck are you smoking and why aren't you sharing? So that actually became the title of the next article that got put out in regards to that whole exchange, which I was kind of proud of. I've been part of a Twitchy feed before, but never the featured tweet that came up with the title. So I was like, woo, progress. But no. So anyway, I was like,
it feels good, doesn't it? I mean, I had one. I've been in Twitchy a bunch of times, but I had one where mine was the featured tweet. And boy, did it take off! Boy, you know when you get featured, like top tweet in one of those.
Yeah.
I mean, when you're in it anyway. But I mean, all of a sudden, I logged onto Twitter and I had like 200 and something notifications, and I'm like, what the hell? I was like, holy crap! My tweet's got like 500 likes on it. How did that happen? And then I find out 10 minutes later that it was the top tweet in a Twitchy article. I was like, oh, I guess that's how it happened.
Yeah, so the only time I've had more traction on my Twitter feed recently was 2 times. It's when I dove in and started basically bashing trolls that were all over Dana. That was like going on for days because that tweet is actually still getting a like and a retweet from here and there. And then the last time was when Stacy, who hadn't done a Follow Friday tweet in forever, didn't realize that with the way they do things now, you can actually daisy chain Follow Fridays. So
yeah,
the funny thing is that one still comes back. I had one just like 3 weeks ago that somebody was retweeting it again. So then there was like a 30, 45 second conversation from people going, oh my God, this has made it back into my timeline again. I'm like, I know, I thought I muted this. Yeah, I'm just like...
Yeah, I remember that. Stacy was like, oh, this is exactly why I don't do these.
Well, it would have been fine if she didn't keep like chaining them together. I mean, if you're gonna do, and honestly, I did it a few times just to try to see if I could annoy people as much as that did. Mine never did work out quite as well, but I did get some angry gifs from a few people.
Yeah,
but so
yeah, because you end up with a thread with like 120 people in it.
So the key is, if you're going to do multiple Follow Friday threads, don't do them as replies to each other. Works much better.
Correct.
Speaking of which, for those of you that usually do Follow Fridays, this week was an odd week for me. I was kind of out of it in between dealing with weird bipolar weather. This was also the anniversary of the April 19th, 1995 Morrow Building bombing. That's always a weird time for me, and I talked about this on the America Off the Rails show, so I'm not going to go into it too much. But suffice it to say, I was actually supposed to be in that building on that day. I had an appointment that day because at that point, even though I had gotten back to the point where I was ambulatory again, I was kind of throwing in the towel, and I decided I was just going to apply for permanent disability and just be a couch potato for the rest of my life because I was down on myself and everything sucked. Well, a couple of weeks after I made the appointment and before I found out when I was supposed to go, I actually got hired to start doing a job. And, it wasn't anything great. I was working for McDonald's. But, you know, a job is a job. That's one of the things that I keep trying to get across to kids nowadays. A job is a job is a job. It doesn't matter what you're doing. As long as it's legal and you can make money at it, then do it to the best of your ability until you can find a way to do something else. So I was on my way to the appointment back in the 90s, you know, when we had the big brick cell phones, and I felt like Johnny Cool because I had like 50 minutes on a cell phone that I was paying like $100 a month to be able to have. So I get a call on my cell phone. They're like, dude, so we've had 2 people call in. Is there any way you can come in? It's like, well, I was on my way to an appointment, and this little voice in the back of my head kept saying, you need to just turn around and go to work. You have a job again. You don't need this check. You can find a way to make things work. You're going to be able to provide for your family again, even if it will be rough. You know, you have money coming in again. So I turned around, not 10 minutes after I got in and clocked in, everything started coming off on the news, and I'm sitting there and I'm starting to help get the breakfast foods put together because they had me in the grill that day. And even from where I was, miles away, the whole building shook. And it dawned on me that if not for that phone call, my daughter would have grown up never knowing who her father was, and my 2 youngest children probably wouldn't be here. Because my daughter was born July 1995. That explosion happened in April of 1995. So if I had not had this nagging feeling to do what I considered the right thing and go in because this person was nice enough to give me a job, even though I was a bit of a mess back then, I probably wouldn't be here having this conversation with you guys today.
Yeah, well, we're glad fate went that way for you, and I know from talking to you that you know many people whose lives were changed in a huge way by that. And I mean, I remember I was at work. In fact, I was listening to just at work. I was working for a manufacturer's rep, and I was in the warehouse going through some materials and listening to G. Gordon Liddy, and he announced it, and I was like, whoa. Yeah, and I pretty much spent the rest of my day listening to the radio.
Yeah, the funny thing is, like, when we figured out what had happened, all of a sudden the managers decided they were going to basically donate a whole bunch of food. So I'm sitting there and I'm helping them cook it, and then all of a sudden the firefighters, they come in and they start picking up the food because they're going to go with the managers and stuff to hand it out. The firefighters look at the managers and says, does anybody in here have any type of first responder training? And I said, I do. I can't get around very well anymore because I've got a limp, but I said, I've had first responder training. And they're like, come on. So from that, for like that whole next few days, I would go in at 4:30 in the morning. I would open the store. I would help them get the 100 to 200 different breakfast items that we were donating that day. And then when they came to pick it up, I would ride out with them, and I'd work the rest of the day helping in any way that I could. And I mean, I saw things that you can't unsee them. And it still to this day gives me a form of PTSD, and that's one of the reasons why when I hear all these people talk about, well, people that have PTSD shouldn't be able to own firearms, and they shouldn't be able to do this, and they shouldn't be able to do that. You guys don't understand that PTSD is this wide-ranging diagnosis. I mean, what I'm calling PTSD isn't really PTSD, but it's the closest thing anybody can identify it as. It's like it's become autism. Autism is a catch-all now for anybody that stutters or anything else. Oh, they're on the spectrum. No, but that's the thing. That's why when everybody starts talking about, oh, we need comprehensive gun reform, as long as PTSD is one of your comprehensive reforms, I'm out. Because we're not going to be London. I don't want a bunch of unarmed police officers and mayors suddenly talking about needing to ban steak knives. Because, guns were the ultimate problem until the guns were gone, and now they're stabbing everybody. But anyway, sorry, that was a bit more ranty than I intended.
That's okay.
All right, so we're officially long. Anything else you want to say on the way out?
No, I think we've basically covered our bases. If you want to interact with me, you can find me on Twitter.
Till he gets banned
at Teed Right Off.
Till he gets banned again.
Yeah, until I get banned again. I'm only at like 460 followers. I won't get banned until I get to about 2,000.
I'm telling you, you should.
You got a little ways to go.
You should just keep this account low key so you can keep it. See, that's honestly one of the things that I always get afraid of now with as easy it is to get banned. Every time I have a blue check that comes after me, like this moron from earlier today, I'm like, oh, is this going to be the one that finally gets me kicked? Because I can't hold my tongue with stupid. I just can't. But anyway, speaking of Twitter, the left is weird place that it is now. Wow, I'm starting to talk like one of those people that tries to get you to send them money on the internet. You can feel free to follow me there at Radio Host Rick. You can also shoot me an email at rick@klrnradio.com. We will be back with you next week for another episode of Robinson and Wright. I will be back with you Monday night for another episode of America Off the Rails. And if you are so inclined, feel free to tune in over the weekend. The show will be on over there at crndigitaltalk.com as well. And I will see you guys when I see you. I am feeling a little bit more back to normal today. I kind of noticed that the whole melancholy and the weight on my shoulders seemed a little bit less today, so I'm hoping to be a little bit more back to normal. And for those of you that were shooting me emails asking me if I was okay, asking me why I wasn't doing my show that much this week, that was why I actually put a lot of time into trying to figure out exactly what I was going to talk about for the 19th show. And so it kind of, with everything else that I was working on, it just wasn't really enough time to do live radio. And honestly, I really didn't feel like doing it until that day. And since then, it's been a little bit easier and easier. So I hope to have everything back to normal by next week. And I'm getting off the radio now because I guess I'm really tired because I'm starting to talk like a Chinese guy who can't speak English. We will see you guys next week. You have anything else you want to say, Dan?
Nope, I'm good. Everybody enjoy their weekend, and we'll talk to you next Friday.
All right, guys, we are out, and I can't even find a bumper, so we're just going to play commercials on the way out. I don't care. I'm tired. See you guys tomorrow, or Monday, whenever. Bye. God, I got to go.
You're listening to the Spark Radio Network, Internet radio like you've never heard before. Innovation, creativity, and imagination are all said to begin with a spark. And take the ride of your life and listen for the spark.